Alright, so we looked at the float and the variable here, and we looked at the setup. Now we have a section called void draw. So what draw does is it actually draws and runs this little bit of code every single frame. What are frames? Well, when we hit play here, this is actually playing like a video. It's playing at about 60 frames per second. So there's 60 pictures every second going on. And so when we move stuff in draw, we're seeing it play at 60 frames. And so every time something changes in here, it's actually drawing it over and over and over again. If you right click, you can see that I'm just changing the background color. We'll look at how to do that later. But certain things like the size will not change, and that's because we did it in setup. Let me hit the X here. But draw right here, this changes something every single time. And what do I want to change? Well, I want to change the size of the circle, the main circle it's drawing, and I want to change that based on the speed of my mouse. So this speed size, which we made up here, which is a variable, a float is a variable that is a number that has a decimal point, 1.1. Oh, not 2 decimal points, 1.11111111111. And so I want this to change the size of our circle based on how fast I'm moving my mouse around. And so I'm using a little bit of an equation. So now I put the word speed size, and it has to be the exact same way I spell it up here. There can't be spaces because it has to be a single word, speed size. And then I can put equals, and this little equation here, abs, stands for absolute, and I put these little parentheses around mouseX, which is where my mouse is, and minus pmouseX, which is where my mouse was on the previous frame, and then I times that by 1.5. So when we do that, let's hit run, that lets us change the size based on how fast the mouse is moving. So if I'm moving it really slow and I'm clicking and dragging, and the faster I go, the bigger that middle circle draws. Now, let's go ahead and change this. Instead of it being abs mouse X minus mouse Y, and instead of, I don't want to actually delete this because I like this code, so I'm going to go ahead and select in front of speed size, and I'm going to make a //, and that's where the question mark is. You just don't hold down shift. What that's doing is it's commenting out. You'll see it turns gray. That means we can't actually, it's not running this code. So if I hit play now, you'll notice that my mouse is not changing. So I'm clicking and dragging, but the mouse is, we're not getting that big circle anymore. Let's go ahead and hit X here. So I'm going to actually go ahead and write in speed and then capital SIZE equals, and now I can just make it whatever size I want. Let's say 100. That's going to be big. It's going to be 100 pixels. So let's hit play. Uh-oh, I put the wrong thing. I put a comma there. To end any kind of statement, we need to put a semicolon. So a semicolon, you'll see semicolons at the end of all these things. We're saying this is what's happening and this is ending it. So let me hit the run button, and now you'll see no matter how fast I move, that circle is about 100 pixels big. Let's exit out. Let's go ahead and make it 1,000. This is going to be super large. Oh my gosh, it's too big. Let's go ahead and make it, let's say 25. We'll run it. And now it's kind of a nice constant 25. But I really liked how it was before, so I'm going to delete that bit of code. And I'm going to go back to that speed size right here, and I'll delete those 2 comments. So now I have this back to being this equation that changes the size based on the speed and how fast I make it go. Right click there, slow, fast. Awesome. And so we need to do that because every time we move our mouse, we need to calculate it. So it has to be in this draw area. It has to be in this area that runs every single time so it can calculate where our mouse is and minus where it was before and times that by 1.5 in order to get the size. All right, we're going to move on to void mouseDragged in the next video.